started.
M. Giblon from Canada. Okay, let's see. We've played some Sicilians recently. How about a Alekhine defense? Another one of those openings I'm trying to learn. So usually d4 and then c4 kicking the knight. This is unusual. Why don't I just take it? I don't see anything wrong with taking it. And challenge the center, see if he defends it. Can't defend it with the d-pawn because that d-pawn is gone. You can defend it with the f-pawn, but otherwise he needs to defend it with a piece. Then I could play knight to c6 and then take it. I just wanted to get knight to c6 in. So if I take the pawn, and yeah, so that forces him to take. I just wanted to have a piece to take back in case he wanted to trade queens if that opened up. But he didn't go that way. Okay, so what have we got here? I guess this bishop is going to be hard to develop on this side, so I will fianchetto it. Oh, there is a problem. If I play g6, he can play bishop to h6 immediately. Okay, so let's start with e5. Maybe chase the bishop around a little bit. And so now I could play g6, but well, now that I put a pawn on e5, g6 is not so attractive. So I'll develop the bishop to e7 and castle. And he castles queenside, putting pressure on this pawn. I'm defending the queen so that there's no sacrifice on the e-pawn. Now I can't push forward just yet, but I could play this bishop forward here. Maybe even queen here, threatening to take on a2 is an idea. Pawn to d5 is my main idea here. But now pawn to d5 and he can take the e-pawn. So the other idea, queen here, what is he going to do about it? Probably just play a3. It looks like an interesting potential attack, though. After a3, I mean, there is the idea of playing d4 and sacrificing the bishop on a3. Pawn takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. But I need to get another rook over here, probably, before that would be an effective attack. And I guess I could just do a pawn storm. Leave these pawns here. This d-pawn has been unpinned and it's securely defending. It is securely defending the e-pawn. He can undermine now. How about if I play b5 here and he takes, then I'll take here with check. That looks like that's pretty good. In fact, it's mating. So after b5, he can't take my pawn. And he can't push on for the same reason. So it looks like I can get b5 in. And then I can bring another rook over here on the open b file after an exchange. He can't take. He can't push. All he can do is defend. Oh, he can trade queens. I forgot about that. Or I didn't. I did not notice that. Let's back up. When did that happen? That happened when he played c4. Okay. That's a bad mistake. I should notice things like that. Okay, well, I have to take back. Let's not think about it now. Let's play it and then see what happens. So this pawn is unfortunately well defended, and so are these. There's still a problem with the. I still can't play with d4. Now I can. I defended the e-pawn so I could play d4 and get some space on the center here. He launched this h-file attack very quickly. I don't think that's going to amount to much, honestly. If he goes to h5, I'm going to play h6 and just stop it there. And his bishop is kind of shut out of the game. So I'm down some pawns here. But I'm not too worried. I have more center influence here. He gets this square, huh? Okay, let's move the rook out of the way. Maybe to the C file there. On the B file, this bishop has a pin on the pawn along this diagonal, so maybe I shouldn't put anything on B8. Maybe I should avoid B8 for now. So if he drops his knight into G6, I'm going to move the bishop out of the way, try and keep the bishop pair. Let's see, if the bishop goes to b4, he can kick it with a3 or c3. So probably I have to go to c5 with the bishop. And bishop c5 to d4. And then knight to c4, ganging up on the b2 square. That's maybe an idea here. Okay, he has this knight fork I have to stay aware of. Knight to e2, knight to e7 forks the king and the rook. So before I move this knight, before I move the bishop, I need to take care of that. So I'll bring my king up here. No more knight fork. That's my plan. So maybe he's going to put his bishop. Oh no, he can't. Bishop to f2 is not possible because I control that square. Okay, he's developed his bishop. Start my idea of ganging up on g2 here. He can always trade off the rook. Trade off the knight when it gets to this square, but then I'll have the bishop pair at least. It's a bit of something. Let's see, so how many pawns am I down? I have 2 pawns here and 1 here, so that's 3 against 4. So I'm just down 1 pawn. Okay, I just lost the b pawn when I played that b5 move instead of doing something about my queen. It looked so good at the time. So anyway, it's not a horrible position, not like the last game. Or at least not as bad. And if I can gain some small advantage, like the bishop pair or something like that, it might be enough to compensate. Along with that, I do have some advantage in terms of center control, and his bishop is currently somewhat locked out of the game. Also, if he has to give up his bishop on d3 here, it will leave the c pawn weak. Okay, so let's stay active here because he's going to push his f pawn pretty soon. That will create some problems for me. So he did decide to go. So now maybe I can think of winning this pawn back. Balance out the material. If he pushes this pawn forward to f4, okay, played that first. I was thinking I have the reply bishop to g4 hitting this pawn and undermining his knight, so that might be something to consider. So where does this bishop want to go? Here or back here? Oh, this maybe was not such a great idea. I momentarily, at least, blocked in my rook. But he can't exploit it right away, right? If he pushes the B pawn, I can take the C pawn. Risky business. But where is the bishop going? Is it going to... if it goes to D6 here, it creates a pin on the D file that maybe he can exploit. Hard to say. So I have the bishop pair, but can I keep it? And he has this terrific knight here. Okay, he's just getting his king out of the way. I'm going to drop my bishop back just so my rook has some space. And then I'm going to put a rook on the B file and try and grab this B pawn. Because there was no squares, is that right? Here, 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 here. There's only this square. Yeah, there weren't too many squares on that row to go to if it came under attack with a move like B3. Although I always have C3, so. But I feel more secure now that my rook has a clear way back for defense. So rook B8 and win this pawn. He can't defend it with the A pawn because I can just take it right now. So I'm not sure what he's playing. I would play something like rook to D3, defending the C3 pawn. And when I attack the pawn, then push B3, forcing this guy to move, and then A4 could be played, and he would have a pawn structure here that he could hope to defend, and maybe even push on with C4 at some point, taking advantage of the pin on the D file. So that's what I would play as white here. Rook to D3. There's still this F4 idea. Pawn to F4, bishop to G4, though. Hits the rook and threatens to win this pawn. So it looks like an adequate response. He's really using up a lot of time on the clock. That's interesting. Okay, brings the other rook into the game. That makes sense, too. Attack this B pawn, like I said. Well, if I get my pawn back, I'll have the bishop pair and some center influence. He's going for a sacrifice here. Does this really work? Bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes, check, forking the king and the rook. That is nice. Nice tactic. Do I have to take it? I can take with the pawn, though. I could have taken either way, right? When the knight goes there, check, I take it. He can play rook there. But the rook takes pawn is not a forcing move, so I don't have to take the rook back. I can just grab the pawn at that point. So it was almost a tactic. Yeah, I have to take now. But now I'm a piece up. And if we count the pawns, he's got 2 pawns for the piece after I grab here. Let's see, is he getting something great? He can gang up. He can gang up on my bishop. He can gang up on this pawn. And I think I came out ahead here. Right, he's got 2 extra pawns. And I have an extra piece, yeah. So I should have, from a material point of view, I should have an advantage here. Let's defend the bishop. If he starts pushing the F pawn, I have time to drop this rook back to the 7th rank, and then I'll be free to move the bishop away. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Pawn here would push the bishop aside. And then he has a check here, which is looks kind of serious. But so if I defend the 7th rank with the rook, and he pushes the pawn, and I drop my bishop back to here, then how is he going to react to that? Let's see. He can win at least a pawn that way. But I can force some more trades then, maybe. Maybe. So he can grab the pawn here. But he chooses just to shore things up, which is probably a smart idea. Okay. And what am I going to do? I think I'm going to put my rook on d7 here, e7. See if I can provoke a trade. And go into this endgame where I think, piece up, I should be okay. He really has to trade at this point because he's got a back rank problem. He can't move his rook to the side. I won't mate him.
Check.
So if he wanted to avoid the trade, he should have moved his rook aside before the exchange rather than doubling like he did. Okay, so I can just go after these pawns here. And the idea is to sacrifice the bishop to stop these pawns at some point. Okay, let's just get my pawns moving. So he's got to choose right now if he's going to try and stop my pawn or queen his pawns. And I think my pawn is faster. That's the theory. So now he can't stop my pawn anymore.
White resigns.
Okay, nice game.
Challenge.
I'm going to upload this and do a postmortem. See you guys later. Bye.